Joining us now for more, Florida Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, good to see you. Good morning.
Hey, good to see you. Good morning.
You tweeted yesterday that Joe Biden's unfit and that we've got the proof in Congress. The Biden family sold access to Joe Biden all around the world to enrich themselves at America's expense. I've had Congressman Comer on the show probably 25 times. Does this actually mean you are going to move forward with impeaching Joe Biden in the House? Because I'll tell you what, March 5th happens next week. That'll be 8 months to Election Day. The clock is ticking.
I wish we would. I filed my own impeachment resolution last year, like in the middle of the year, once all of this information came to us on the financial records, where we then had direct evidence that Joe Biden himself, was receiving financial information and financial reimbursement from Chinese Communist Party and all these other businesses that Hunter Biden and his brother were doing and filtering it through all these LLCs. I filed it a year ago. I think we should have moved forward with it a long time ago. Hunter Biden obviously is not going to say, yeah, my dad was involved in all of this. It's interesting that the talking point for the Democrats, and you're right, it's been this the entire time, there's no direct evidence. Well, I was a practicing lawyer. I don't know what isn't direct evidence that we already have. Financial records, witness testimony. You have Tony Bobulinski that says that Joe was in the meetings. You have pictures of Joe with all these business associates. You have financial monies moving from Chinese Communist Party, Ukraine entities into LLCs owned by Hunter Biden, and then the money being a cut to a check from Jim Biden to Joe Biden. I mean, I don't know what more evidence you would need to have, but that's the narrative that the mainstream media wants to put out, that there's not any evidence.
Because I think we're just at a stalemate right now. I think that half the country thinks that Joe and Hunter and Jim are all on the level, and the other half, the half that's watching right now, they know that clearly there's something going on here. I just don't know how much longer this investigation can go on without bearing some fruit. Now, I think that there are Republicans in the House that would like to see, hey, Hunter might be in the courtroom at the same time that Donald Trump is in the courtroom if that happens over the summer. And that would be hugely embarrassing for the White House. Have you had any conversations with our new House Speaker, Mike Johnson, or James Comer, or Jim Jordan about moving the ball down the field here? Because every time I have a member of Congress on, and I understand, I hear you, but they say the exact same thing you just said.
My conversations with Comer is he wants to move this forward. I have not had direct conversations with Speaker Johnson on this. I think the leadership's challenge is if we bring this to the floor, let's say we bring the impeachment of Joe Biden to the floor tomorrow, do we have the Republican votes to get it across the finish line? We couldn't even get Mayorkas impeached the first time we tried, and then we had to wait for Scalise to be able to come up from cancer treatments to be able to give us that one vote because we had 3 Republicans who voted against impeaching Mayorkas. I don't understand that, so I think the leadership's concern and challenge is if we bring it to the floor, are there going to be enough votes to move it forward? And if not, we're going to waste a lot of floor time and get quote unquote embarrassed because we're not going to be able to pass it. But I think put members on the board, put these Democrats in tough districts on the board on all of this evidence, put Republicans on the board on this and move forward. It should have been done a year ago, in my opinion, which is why I filed my own resolution. In conversations with Comer after I filed that, he said he agreed with me 100%. But obviously, as a chairman, you're trying to do what the leadership wants you to do. If Speaker Johnson wanted to bring this to the floor tomorrow, he could.
Sounds like you got to run for leadership next cycle, Congressman.
I think I'm too conservative to get elected Speaker of this House.
Well, you never know. Let's talk about the Senate. So Mitch McConnell announced he's stepping down yesterday, but he's not really stepping down. He's going to stay through November. Want to know what you make of that? And then you tweeted that it shouldn't be one of the Johns, Thune, Barrasso, or Cornyn, and that it should be Rick Scott as our next minority leader, maybe majority leader in the Senate. Take us through that.
Yeah, Rick Scott did I got elected to the state house when Rick Scott elected to the governor. I got elected to Congress when he got elected to the Senate. When I was in the state legislature with Governor Scott at the helm, we cut taxes in the state of Florida. All you have to do is look at the numbers of the people moving into the state of Florida because of what Republicans have done in leadership in the state house and the state Senate. And Governor, I think he would be a great leader of the Senate, certainly more conservative than what Mitch McConnell has been. And that's what we need. We need younger, more conservative conservative members to be leading these different chambers, because the rank and file members that are getting elected, more than 65% of them in the House have gotten elected either when Trump was president or since Trump has been president, that are bringing that America First agenda to the House and to the Senate. And that's the type of leadership that we need. We need an America First leadership. And hopefully when Trump's in the White House and we have an America First conservative leaders in our House and the Senate, we can move this country forward and out of the disastrous policy that Joe Biden has put us in over the last 3 years.
Yeah, and Mitch McConnell, look, we can talk about his legacy when the time comes, but I think right now it's about getting Republicans elected in the House, Senate, and the White House. I don't know why he's staying on the job until November. I'm wondering, who is the House favorite with conservatives like yourself to be Donald Trump's running mate if he is the nominee in November?
You know, that's a great question. I've spent some time with him, and he hasn't given me any indication of exactly who he's thinking. Obviously, in his public comments.
But who do you and your colleagues, who do you talk about, you know, when you're hanging out together offline?
All the names that you guys are talking about come up in conversation. I think all of those would be good candidates. I think he needs to pick somebody that would diversify his ticket from like a geographical standpoint.
Yeah.
Senator Scott out of South Carolina would be great, because you're bringing South Carolina along with Florida, because obviously Trump is in Florida now. So something like that brings a diversity to the ticket, not in race or gender or anything like that, but bringing a diversity to the ticket of the type of Republicans that would support the president, and whoever it is needs to be conservative.
Right, that's such a good point. In the old days, you'd run with somebody that was going to win you a state that you were struggling in. Think Kennedy and LBJ. JFK needed Texas, so he ran with LBJ. That's the way it used to be done. It wasn't done based on skin color or gender. Florida Congressman Greg Steube, good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.